Hi guys, this is Yugioh Mathematics again, coming at you with another video. So, what is good? A meta, what makes a good Yu-Gi-Oh card? So, what makes a good Yu-Gi-Oh card is in terms of either the meta or the deck it's in. In other words, like, let's say, Effect Veiler. Is it good in the meta? I'd say it's pretty decent and negates meta decks, and meta decks play it. So, in fact, the meta is worth more than it's worth in a deck. Okay, let me start over. So, Effect Veiler. Let's go Veiler. So, Veiler. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I just can't write like that. Okay, just visualize Effect Veiler. So, the deck, what this means is basically the archetype. The archetype a card is in. Alright? Remember that. A certain type of deck. And meta is, the top decks, basically. But since you're more likely to win with a meta deck, just remember this. The meta is worth more than if it's good in an archetype. Alright, let me give an example so you guys understand what this means. Let's say Dark World dealings. Dark Worlds have not been in the meta. So, overall score in the meta, 0. 0 in the meta. Deck, well, in their own Dark World dealings in their own deck, everybody plays it. There's 3 in the deck, and it's really good. So, we're going to put an overall score of 1 for the deck. Alright. So, okay, don't think that this applies to these numbers, alright? So, the meta must always equal more than the deck. In other words, Dark World dealings, if you talk about it in the deck and the meta, overall its score is only worth 1 point. Alright? And this is the maximum score for the meta, and this is the maximum score for the deck, just to tell you. So then we could say it's not a bad card. It's okay. It's an okay card. Okay? So the scale goes 1 to 3. Okay card. Well, 0 is a bad card. 1 is okay card. 2 is good card. 3 is really good card. So, you see, the meta is worth more because you could do, if you have a card, in other words, like, I can't describe really what the meta is, but the meta is pretty much everything if you're a competitive player. The meta is what you have to play by if you want to win at Yu-Gi-Oh! That's just a given, okay? That's why it is valued at 2 instead of 1. So let's try this again. Let's say Lights won Lila. Alright. Lila. It's been played in the meta, Lightsworn, so it gets a point. So first we have to say, is it in a meta deck? Yes. Does it combat meta decks? In other words, does it combat most of the decks? So let's think about spell and traps. Let's say like Yugiohs and Fujins, they have high spells and trap cards. So apparently Lila does help combat other meta decks. So we're going to give her a 2. Now, within the deck that she is played with, which will be Lightsworns, She is a good card. In it, people run 2 of her, sometimes triple. So we're going to put a 1 on the deck. Overall, her score is 3. That makes her a good card. You see that? Alright. So that's a little example of a meta-specific card. So let's get into like a little bit more general cards. Let's say Dark Hole. Is it in the meta? Do cards play? I'm sorry, I'm not. Let's see. So yes. Does it help combat it? Yeah. No, it helps combat it. It's not in a meta deck though. Actually, you could play it in a meta deck. Okay, well the meta deck, you have to understand it's really hard to calculate the meta variable, because you have to understand what decks have been topping and what cards, you know. So let's just say that people, I remember that not a lot of people play it, so let's just say it combats the meta 1 point. And well, actually, wait, no, people do play Dark Hole. I'm sorry. I have no idea what I'm saying. Well, for Dark Hole, I know what I'm saying with regards to this whole thing. So 2 for the meta deck. It's not specific to any archetype, but it's versatile. It could be played in any deck. And cards like this generally get a score of 1. So Dark Hole is a really good card. 3 points for this Dark Hole. But what about stuff like Book of Moon? You don't see a lot of players playing it, so that means it doesn't have much of the meta. Does it help combat it? Yes. So it has 1 card, and it's versatile in pretty much any deck. So 2. Book of Moon is a good card. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we have to say about it. So let's make something more specific. Like let's say Dragon Rulers. It's popular in Lightsworn's and its own Mythic Ruler deck. So I say it is for the meta, and does it help combat it? Generally, let's see, Dragon Rulers, you have to understand their implications. Let's say like Blaster, it gets special summoned. It creates Draco Sacks, okay? It helps Synchro, it helps attack. So would we say that it helps combat the meta? Yes. Yes, we would. Alright? So, 2 points for the meta. Deck specific, Dragon Rulers 1. All Dragon Rulers have a value of 3. But let's say you're putting Dragon Rulers in like deck specific situations. Like let's say you're gonna play Red Ox in I have no idea, something really random like Agent Fairies, okay? Agent Fairies. So Agent Fairies, let's say you're gonna play Red Ox and Agent Fairies. In the meta, Agent Fairies is not a meta deck, so but Red Ox does help combat the meta. So 1 for the power it could have. The deck. Does Red Ox go with the deck? No. So in Agent Fairies, it gets an overall score of 1, so it is not a good card in Agent Fairies. So all Dragon Rulers get a score of 1 in Agent Fairy decks. So you could see how this thing is versatile. So let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, this is just the thing that I came up with, meta and deck. When people say, oh, that card's good, or oh, that card's bad, it's usually only referring to the deck specific, because you're not gonna say, oh, Dark World Dealings, it's not a good card, you know? Like, you're never gonna say that unless you're talking about the overall picture. Then, like, you know, you shouldn't be playing Dark World at all if you want to be competitive, right? Again, not to discourage any rogue players out there. Alright, well, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Mathematics, out.